Hello, friends. This is Deepa Moghe, welcoming you to the ninth English episode of Tumso Amso Cinema, a series of film appreciations originally presented in Konkani by Jnanesh Moghe. In today's episode, we shall critically appreciate Two and Two, a short film of approximately 8 minutes directed by Babak Anwari. You can watch this film on YouTube by clicking on the link provided in the description. The camera tracks back from the blackboard, and slowly the entire classroom is visible in the frame. Children, as usual, are busy talking to each other. What is strikingly different is the appearance of the classroom. The windows are at a height and not at the eye level of the students like they usually are. The structure of the classroom looks like that of a prison cell. As the teacher enters the classroom, the students are for the first time introduced to a different, new kind of a discipline. They are now expected to strictly stick to the time. Just when the hands of the watch strike a particular time, the announcement on the speaker begins. Beginning with, "This is your headmaster speaking." The voice expresses its expectations by saying, "You shall bring pride to your school and your fellow students," making an emotional appeal like the one typically made by our political leaders to our sense of nationalism. In this film, which is based on a purely political content, the first lesson that the teacher introduces in the class is of a completely bizarre equation: 2 plus 2 equals 5. As the disbelieving students speak out, they are silenced by the stern voice of the teacher. He makes them repeat this strange equation again and again.
دو با دو چند میشه؟ پنج میشه. بلندتر. دو با دو چند میشه؟ پنج میشه. بلندتر. چند میشه؟ تکرار.
If you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes accepted as truth. In accordance with this political ideology, the teacher makes them say 2 plus 2 equals 5 over and over again. Though the students are hesitant in the beginning, they slowly start following the teacher and start repeating 2 plus 2 equals 5 after him. This reminds us of the propaganda strategies used by Hitler's Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels. To glorify Hitler and to present a favorable image of the Nazi regime, he generously implemented the idea that if repeatedly told, people easily accept even a lie as a truth. One of the boys in the classroom is doubtful about this new mathematical equation, but the teacher silences him by telling him that whatever we say is the truth and that one should not raise doubts about it. The boy further tries to say, and this is very important, he tries to say, "I think," but the teacher stops him right there and says, "Don't think. You don't need to think." It clearly means that we don't want you all to think. Instead, we shall do the thinking for you. In fact, our thoughts must become your thoughts. So keep repeating 2 plus 2 equals 5. 2 plus 2 equals 5 is a phrase that can be attributed to George Orwell's novel 1984. A political party is in the process of ingraining a completely paradoxical philosophy in the minds of its citizens, like the slogan, "War is peace." The protagonist of the novel ponders if the inner party might declare 2 plus 2 equals 5 as the ultimate truth. He ponders if people would then accept a complete lie as the truth. In an interrogation scene in the novel, the interrogating officer says that if people give away their freedom of perception of the real world to the party, then there won't be any need for the party to physically keep a check on the citizens. And it is true. How far can one remain free once one gives away his freedom of perception to someone else? It would mean control on one's mind itself. And once one gains control on another's mind, sometimes 2 plus 2 can be 5, or sometimes it can become 3, or sometimes can be all of them at a time. What difference would it make? The process of gaining control over the minds of the citizens and then brainwashing them was termed as doublethink by George Orwell. George Orwell himself believed that in a political system that renders its citizens powerless and lends inordinate powers to its political leaders, the kind of paradox and the process of doublethink exists simultaneously. For this, he used to give an example of one of Joseph Stalin's speeches. Stalin had said, "We are for the withering away of the state, and at the same time, we stand for the strengthening of the dictatorship, which represents the most powerful and mighty of all forms of the state which have existed up to the present day." He also claimed that this is in accordance with the Marxist formula. He questions, is it contradictory? And himself answers, yes, it is contradictory. But this contradiction is a living thing and wholly reflects the Marxist dialectic. This is how the politician in Stalin goes to the extent of manipulating Marxist philosophy of dialectic. Who else can better manipulate ideologies according to their own convenience and successfully impose them on people's minds other than politicians? Helpless, the students in the class accept the equation 2 plus 2 equals 5, but not all. A rebel amongst them refuses and asserts that 2 plus 2 equals 4. The first thing that the teacher asks him is, who gave you the permission to speak? The freedom of speech is the most important thing here. Simply imposing an absolute lie and, when questioned, silencing one by asking, who gave you the freedom of speech, is an ever-ready protocol. Be it Hitler or Stalin, rightist or leftist, the transactions of a dictatorial regime is always one-sided. The teacher asks the students, how dare they question him? A base question well ingrained in a political system. When the teacher refuses to listen, the rebel boy turns towards the other students and tries to emphasize the truth.
2 برابر 2 4 همتون میدونین که 4 میشه.
Not only the teacher gets angry, but some of the fellow students also get annoyed at this. Why do you want to put us in trouble? They ask him. A question very often asked in our society in situations like this. The teacher is now left with only one option, and that is to destroy the root cause of the issue, the root cause of the question. And to destroy the root cause of the question means to destroy the one questioning. And he does accordingly. And as a result, the rebel boy loses his life. Though the classroom, the teacher, and the student form the visual components of the film, one easily realizes that the story is not only about them. The director wishes to express something much deeper. We initially noticed that the classroom does not allow proper breathing space to the students. It is devoid of any ventilation that could allow some fresh air inside. The windows are at such a height that nobody is able to easily see what is happening outside. The structure of the room is such that the freedom of the ones in the room is well restricted. The next component is the teacher. He is the linking factor in the system. He is not a stranger, but as the governing system changes, he too changes. He very strongly pledges his loyalty to the system in power. Just till yesterday, when he would enter the class, children would greet him and sit down. But today he doesn't allow them to sit. He keeps them standing until he receives orders from above. He has almost turned into a machine like most of the bureaucrats. Loyally following the orders from above is the only thing he knows. The robotic expression on his face speaks volumes of this character. The speaker on the wall is the most important component in the film.
آموزان عزیز صبح بخیر. این مدیرتون است که صحبت میکنه. زیاد وقت کلاستون رو نمیگیرم. فقط میخوام اعلام کنم که از امروز تغییراتی در دروس شما رخ خواهد داد.
Through the speaker, we are only able to hear the voice of the Supremo, occupying the highest position of authority in the system. He is not visible, but one can feel the authority in his voice. be it Politburo or High Command, a word that we all are familiar with. Nobody really knows who this High Command is, but we know that it is the ultimate power. Nobody can ever question that power. The speaker conveys the voice of this High Command to the teacher and the students in the classroom. It says that today onwards there will be some changes in the school. Your teachers will advise you further. Follow their instructions to the letter and make your school proud. All dictators say similar things. The emotional appeal about one's nation and the national pride is always reflected in their speeches. The voice does not speak much, but the message is incisively conveyed. The students sitting in the classroom represent all the different sections of the society. There are those who readily accept all political decisions, even if they are wrong. The ones who are initially doubtful, unhappy about the decisions, but when threatened by the system, accept it, are also present. But along with these, the ones who strongly oppose the wrong decisions and go to the extent of self-sacrifice also exist. But most importantly, the ones who experience everything, think rationally, and though stealthily hold on to the truth are also present. Those who are the beneficiaries of the system and who have accepted the equations of the system are the most dangerous of the lot. They hold invisible weapons in their hands. They possess the power of spilling the blood of others anytime. The director shows a band on the left arm of the elderly students, which reminds us of the paramilitary organization SA of the Nazi Party. This group is highly brainwashed. They are all well trained at reiterating the party decisions just like a parrot.
آفرین.
The ones who oppose the system are attacked in so many different ways that they are destined to be wiped out. A similar thing happens in this classroom. Though the weapons in the hands of the killers are invisible, the opponent is sure to die. It is strongly believed that the best way to defeat an opponent who cannot be overpowered by thoughts is to annihilate him. After writing 2 + 2 = 4 on the board, the manner in which the rebel boy stands there facing the attackers shows that he is fully aware about the consequences of standing by the truth. When his blood splatters on the blackboard, the classroom is filled with silence. A sense of fear does lie in that silence, but also lies there a sense of a new realization. Though now, all the students start following the teacher and begin repeating the idea of 2 + 2 = 5. Somewhere in some corner, someone, realizing the falsehood of this idea, scribbles out the 5 and writes 4 instead on the paper. This is how, inevitably, truth takes root at some place. This film of approximately 8 minutes strongly depicts the ethos of politics. 2 and 2 was nominated as the best film for the BAFTA Award in 2011. This film, directed by Babak Anwari, is also written by him with Gavin Cullen. It is one of the best examples of how a film can put forth such a meaningful and a vast idea in such a short span of time. 2 and 2 is available on YouTube. The link has been provided in the description. Do watch the film. In the next episode of Tumso Amso Cinema, we shall critically appreciate the 2014 Hindi film Queen, directed by Vikas Behel. Queen was awarded the National Award, and its lead actress Kangana Ranaut was also awarded the National Award for Acting in 2014. The film is available on Netflix as well as on various OTT platforms. To watch the critical appreciation of the best Indian and foreign films, subscribe to our channel, Vincent Academy of Film and Media. See you next week. Goodbye till then.